This is going to be brutal advice for agencies and service providers who aren't getting results with cold email yet. And no, this is not my McLaren. I just use cars and other pictures like these to keep you motivated. So what I'm going to do in this video is just give you guys brutally honest cold email advice if you're an agency or you use cold email. And for who I am, my name is Pablo Malandu. I currently run a B2B cold traffic marketing agency called Vintascale. We send over 40,000 emails a month for ourselves and our clients, and everything I share in every single one of my videos is from my own experience and what is currently working for us. All right, so first piece of advice. People are making excuses while their competitors are booking all the good clients. It sounds obvious, but it's true. Let's dig in. So we are in a market where trust is at an all-time low and people are insanely skeptical. So if you're out here trying to sell a $10,000 program or even a $4,000 service, especially if you're selling B2B, it's very difficult to sell it now unless you have systems that do most of the selling before these prospects get on calls. Same thing goes for agencies. Even if you're selling B2B, other businesses you're selling to are just insanely skeptical because they've been burned so many times by other agencies. So what you need to do is build a cold email system that brings in new prospects while also converting your existing clients and customers. This exact system that I just put on the screen has led to multiple six figures in pipeline and leads for our clients and for my own agency. Next piece of advice is that your competitors are already doing cold email. So every ticking second that goes by that you are not running proper cold email campaigns, your competitors are stealing all of your potential clients. And I don't know about you guys, I would much rather take clients myself rather than give them to my competitors because I want the money. And I also know that my service is better. So you should be doing cold email. And the funny thing is, most of you guys think that it takes like all this time per day. It literally takes 30 minutes to an hour per day if you have a good system in place. By the way, I keep flashing this because I give this for free at the end of every video. So long story short, just start sending cold emails. Next thing I want to say is that nobody cares about your tweets or Instagram posts. Now, hear me out. Social media is good for getting some attention, but it's really hard to build real authority because people are just consuming 60-second videos. So they have no chance to go deep and actually learn about your expertise. If you want people to send you thousands of dollars through a Zoom call, they need to trust you because for all they know, you could just run away with the money. Next tip. Clients want proof, not promises. So they want to see, okay, if I give this person money, first off, have they done it for other people? Because they're going to think to themselves, right? If they can do this for other people and I'm similar to that other person, they can probably get me similar results. So let's say I was a lead gen agency and I was trying to sell other agencies on cold email services, and I had some prospect named Johnny who hopped on a sales call with me. Tell me which situation would be easier to sell to Johnny. If in scenario A, I had no cold email results, no social proof, no case studies, and Johnny asked me, hey, have you done this for other people? Can I see some references, right? Have you done this for other people before? And I come up with some BS response just to hide the fact that I have no social proof. Or scenario B, where as soon as Johnny asked me that, I just show him all the client results that I have, all the testimonials, all the case studies. I'm not even going to answer that question, right? Because you know that scenario B is going to sell easier. And the next thing I want to say is, let's say you're someone who's not even running cold email at all, and you're scared, and you're running an agency or service business, and you're scared of setting up the technical infrastructure, and that's what's preventing you from starting cold email. You need to grow up, because there's people who literally have gone to war, extreme example, and all you have to do is just set up some email accounts, and you can't do it. Like, you're an adult, right? You're not a little kid. Now, the next thing I want to say is that without proper cold email systems, you're just another voice in the space, or you're like another person who just picked up their iPhone and is posting random content. But you actually have to be smart and a skilled individual to be able to systematically generate leads for 30 plus days straight and actually convert them into paying clients. Not everybody can do that. And the next thing is, and this is probably the most important takeaway from this whole video, even if you don't get people finding you organically through social media or search, you still need to have your online presence optimized. Because what happens after someone books a sales call with you, right? They're going to search you up. They're going to be like, oh, hey, who is this person, right? And they're going to Google your name and your company, and then boom, they're going to see your website, your LinkedIn, your social media, everything. Not only are they going to see that stuff, they are going to look at your case studies, your testimonials, your credibility. If they go through your online presence and see real authority, well, that's an easy close. So even if you get 0 people into your funnel through content and you only use cold email to fill your pipeline, you would still need your online presence optimized because it massively helps close rates. Trust me, people are searching you up, even if you're sending cold emails, even if you're doing LinkedIn outreach, or even if you're running ads, people are searching you up. Just look at the analytics, right? Track the analytics of your website, or whatever it is, you'll see what I mean. So you need to be present online. Pretty much every successful agency owner, if you search them up, they have an optimized online presence. For service providers, that's not necessarily the case, but the ones that do have it get a massive head start. So that's the foundation. Now let me give you the brutal reality about what's actually killing your cold email results. All right, so let me start by explaining the biggest delusion I see. Most people are completely delusional about volume. You're sending 100 to 200 emails per day and wondering why you're not getting any results. Well, here's the brutal truth. If you're not sending at least 1,000 emails per day, don't question anything else. Don't question your deliverability. Don't question your offer. Don't question your copy. Nothing. Until you're hitting that 1,000 email per day threshold, your only job is figuring out how to efficiently source enough leads to meet that volume. I would spend as much time as possible figuring out how to get enough leads in an efficient manner to meet this volume threshold. This is something that I personally am always thinking about for my own agency and for my clients. Without proper volume, you're just playing with yourself and your potential and your results. And most people fail before they even start, because they set up 5 email accounts, they think they're going to change their business. If you want to be getting more than 5 meetings a month, you're going to need to send thousands of emails per day. That's just the truth. I personally like to start by sending 1,000 emails per day minimum. That's baseline, dipping your toe into cold email. I promise you, anything less than that, and you're not going to get serious results. People drastically underestimate how many emails they need to get someone interested and scheduled on a call. Stop making excuses about being too busy to set up proper infrastructure while your competitors are booking deals. Now, here's something important about reply rates. Forget the 1% reply rate rule that everyone talks about, where they say, anything less than 1%, it's a deliverability issue. It actually depends on what your offer is. So for more saturated offers that use cold email as a main promotion channel, like lead gen services, a baseline reply rate might look like 0.7%. So keep that in perspective based on your offer and your market. If you're in a competitive space, 0.7% might be your ceiling or your floor, and that's totally normal. So stop comparing yourself to some fantasy benchmark that you might see other people parading on Twitter or LinkedIn, and understand what's realistic for your offer in your market. Cool. Now let's talk about what most people get completely wrong with their lead lists. You are likely lumping completely different people together into one campaign and wondering why your emails don't work. You may want to consider separating campaigns by company headcount, especially if it's a generic offer like lead gen. Position it differently for each segment. So for lead gen, that might look like lead generation for startups, might look like performance-based growth as an intro offer for mid-market, conversion optimization for enterprise or larger companies, so on and so forth. The CEO of a 10-person company versus the CEO of a 500-person company are completely different people with completely different problems, but most people just lump them all into the same email campaign, talk to them the same way, and wonder why nobody responds. You're trying to speak to everyone, which means you're speaking to no one. Now, here's something that matters almost more than your cold email itself. Success multipliers matter more than the cold email copy. I'm talking about what you're doing outside of the cold email. Your content, social presence, social proof, testimonials. And that's the only real way to stand out in a saturated market in 2025, especially if you lack client testimonials. Your cold email copy doesn't matter if you have 0 social proof. In saturated markets, what you do outside of cold email matters more than the email itself. You can't compete on email alone anymore. People are going to Google you again after they get your email, and if they find nothing when they search your name, you've already lost before the sales call even happens. Now let's talk about the biggest problem of all. 99% of cold email failures are offer problems, not copy problems. You can't put lipstick on a pig. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, most people take their existing offer and try to run it through cold email, test a bunch of different scripts and fancy wording and copywriting, and when it doesn't work, they blame the copy. The reality is your offer just isn't attractive enough to drag someone out of their email inbox to get on a call with a complete stranger. You need to create an offer specifically designed to work on cold outbound. It needs to be incredibly low risk, very high upside, and very easy for the client. If it's too hard, too expensive, or if it takes too long, or if it's too risky, it's not going to work. You need to have control over the offer and change it so it can get results on cold email. Otherwise, you're going to be crying over your automation tools. You're going to be trying to figure out figure everything out until you eventually give up and say cold email doesn't work. Now, here's what I want you to understand about deliverability. If you're not getting a 1% reply rate on email sent, you probably have a deliverability issue, all things equal. I know it depends on your offer and your market and so on and so forth, but all things equal. Even if you have the worst email copy in the world, people need to see your emails. If they're not replying at all, they're probably not seeing your emails. Check your warm-up scores. If more than 5% of your warm-up emails are landing in spam, your cold emails are definitely landing in spam. Most people set up email accounts with random infrastructure, send thousands of emails, get 0 replies, and wonder what's wrong. The emails aren't being delivered. Now, here's the reality about why you need multiple marketing channels. So relying only on cold email is dangerous. You need multiple acquisition channels in case anything breaks, kind of like this YouTube channel. If your email accounts get shut down, if deliverability changes, if your main channel has issues, you need backup systems. I learned this the hard way when our main channel started to have problems. I've talked about this in other videos, but I shut my whole agency down for about 3 to 4 weeks. If we didn't have multiple lead sources working, we would have been completely screwed. The most successful agencies and service providers have 2 to 3 lead generation channels working simultaneously. So it could look like cold email, ads, LinkedIn, or cold email, LinkedIn, YouTube, mix and match, right? Cold email should be one piece of a bigger system, not your only system. And finally, here's the thing about sales process that most people completely ignore. Cold emails are different from referrals or inbound leads. These people don't know who you are. You just sent them a cold email. They don't trust you yet, and they're not jumping up and down ready to buy your service. You need a sales process that follows up aggressively, builds trust, extracts pain, shows ROI, and nurtures them properly. Most people get someone interested, hop on one call, don't close them, and never follow up again. These leads probably need 2 to 3 calls minimum and dozens of follow-ups over weeks or months. Again, unless you have insane amounts of social proof, which at the time of recording this video, even I don't have. Cold email leads can be some of the highest value leads because you can target exactly who you want, but it means you have to do more work on the sales process side to maximize the system. You need a CRM to track these people. Follow up aggressively, not just once, but dozens of times. Call them, text them, LinkedIn message them, email them. A stranger is not going to get a cold email, get on a call with you, and pay you tens of thousands of dollars unless they get to know you better. It's just the truth. So that's everything I wanted to talk about today. Just some brutal advice for agencies and service providers about cold email. As always, if you have any questions, leave a comment below and I will get back to you. If you run a B2B agency or business, B2B business doing at least $20,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue and would like us to get you clients from cold traffic and cold email, the link is in the description. If you'd like access to my entire cold email and cold traffic marketing blueprint for free, the link is in the description below too. Just fill out the Google form and I'll send it directly to your inbox. See you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace.